Welcome, ghouls and ghosts, boils and bubbles, dudes and dudettes, and witches and warlocks, and assorted peoples of the dark side, late night viewing, or if you're watching this in the middle of the day, or hey, get back to work, you motherfucker. We're watching. You're watching and or listening to another segment of Psychotronic Coast to Coast. And joining me as usual is my fine feathered friend, the foul, freaky Farley fan, Owen Neal.
Yep.
How's it going, my friend?
Pretty good, because we just watched Freaky Farley.
And during the course of this movie, it has been revealed that I perhaps maybe have not seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, the movie in which this is essentially remaking. Two. Sorry. I haven't seen any of them, actually, but specifically two, which is one is a loose inspiration, or loosely inspired by, structurally speaking, and plot also. But everything else about it's different. So that's interesting. So that's something you guys can look forward to in a future episode, is me using the right microphone. Is me finally watching that and you guys watching my response to that. So
yeah.
That'd be fun.
Something I never even noticed, even says on the big front. A shocking independent movie in the tradition of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, The Pit, and Rana, The Legend of Shadow Lake.
Well, we should probably watch that now, because what the fuck? Because the other two were obvious. I mean, we did The Pit already. The Trogs from The Pit were in that, or the quote-unquote Trogs from the movie Pit were in it.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting. Not Trogs the band, unfortunately. Trogs the band would have been way cooler than Trogs from The Pit. By the way, Pit's getting a Blu-ray release from Kino Lorber. Did you see that?
I saw that.
I'm going to buy the shit out of that.
And then on the back it says, was shot on film and produced under conditions not unlike The Worm Eaters, The Devil, Master, and Fiend.
Shot on film? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. This one and Match Vegas were shot on film.
Excuse me when I go back and look through the footage again. That certainly looks like video.
It's definitely shot on film, man. I've seen the behind the scenes. They had to rent a camera and they had to cover it with a
blankets and shit
and stuff because it was so loud.
Yeah, that sounds like a camera, right? Wow. All right, that's interesting. It looks like a video, but that might just be because of YouTube.
Yep, shot on Fujifilm.
Super 16. Look at that. All right, I stand absolutely corrected. It was shot on film.
I believe River Beast was shot with a newer camera, and I think their new movie might have been shot on like DSLR.
Let's see. Don't Get the River Beast was shot on. Doesn't say. Probably video though. Most of them are shot on video. Most of the time they are shot on video because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so their older movies were all shot on film.
There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. Just anyway. So right. So that was in it. Regardless, wow, only cost $10,000 to make apparently.
It's like their cost of all their movies, I believe, something around there. Maybe River Beast was a little more because they had to do the suit. Because Matt, the star writer producer, was talking about how because he was talking about the new movie was like $10,000, and someone was like, "Why?" One of his friends that always messes with him, and he's like, "Because each time he buys some new big piece of equipment for the next movie, so like this time they put a bunch of money into shotgun mics and a boom pole, and
that's why they keep getting better and better in quality. That makes sense.
Yep.
Cool.
And that's why they're like,
smart.
And that's also why they're like, "Hey, friend, come be in this movie. You've never been in anything."
Because they're poor, on fucking equipment.
They're like, "That's okay. We're making a movie. You don't need to act."
Well, eventually they'll have all the equipment they need, and then they can actually pay actors instead. And then they'll be set, right? Because then all they have to do is write and direct it, and then they write and direct it. Charles Roxbow or whatever. I can't say it. I don't know his last name. Roxburgh. Thank you. And Matt Farley. They work on these together. One directs, one stars. They both write it. So.
But I think the idea is that Matt wants to be in the movies.
Right, but you can get other actors instead of just random people. Is my point.
See, I need to get enough money.
Populate your extras and your smaller characters with people from the past movies, but you get the more serious roles of the actual actors. You know.
See, I wish I had enough money and I could hire them to make Bigfoot the musical, full-length film.
Musical.
Bigfoot Stole My Mail, the musical.
Yeah, I saw that.
Them really make it, but I'd have them remake it with Matt doing my part.
All right, so let's talk about Freaky Farley. Why don't you take us through it?
Freaky Farley. So it kind of starts out. The whole setup is, which you kind of see more later, is that he's telling this reporter woman stuff that had happened already, like flashbacks.
Right.
But it kind of starts out where you learn that his mom died in the woods. The dad said it was a car accident. You find out later it was actually Beast, which they don't necessarily say that, but it seems like the Trogs actually killed his mom.
Yeah, I think it's implied that the Trogs killed his mom.
And that kind of sets the dad up to kind of be cold. Where he's
a bastard. That's the reality of it.
You know, he'll punish him for the littlest things. He spilled milk, and his dad made him go dig a 4 foot deep by 4 foot wide hole and then fill it back in. And that's kind of like the running punishment. Go dig a hole, fill it back in, over and over and over. But, reason he's called Freaky Farley is he goes around and peeps in windows at girls and draws them.
Yeah, yes he does, and it's really creepy.
And there's quite a few montages of him watching girls and him drawing them, and his dad making him dig holes. His dad's trying to be like, hey, you know, you need to get a job. He sets like up an interview with this woman, which he clearly doesn't want because he ends up just a lot of times ditching the job interviews. He's supposed to be looking for a job and just floats down the river on a tube. That's his thing. But he goes to the job interview and just says, hey, why don't you leave your husband and meet me at Lover's Lane? Which, to his surprise, she was in it. She was like, yeah.
Like, oh, wait, I was just kidding. Fuck.
But along the way, he meets a girl, Scarlett, I believe is her name, who's interested in him. And there's a lot of little montages where he's walking around town and everyone's like, Freaky Farley, Freaky Farley. Like, everyone in town knows that he peeps through windows, but it's just like, oh, well, that's just Freaky Farley.
Yep.
And,
yeah. A little creepy, a little weird. A lot creepy, a lot weird. Who am I kidding?
And she's interested in him. We learn later she's writing a book and using the weird characters from town as characters in her book. She talks about the guy that does poetry, the ninja, the witch. Those are just some of them. There's also the bearded hobo, who, for some reason, randomly steals Freaky Farley's tube, so he can't float down the river anymore.
It's a douchebag, I gather.
But
douche.
He ends up meeting up with that older woman and saying that he just did that because he didn't want the job. And she shoves him out of the car, drives away. And she's like, I'm going to call Monday and tell your dad that you don't get the job. And if I have any power, you're not going to have any job in this town ever. Which I'm not even, she worked at like the telephone company, so I'm not sure how she has that power, but
reasons, ways.
It is weird. It's a weird setup because she's like, I'm going to call on Monday morning. So he has like the whole weekend before his dad finds out that he didn't get the job. So he just hangs out with Scarlett for 2 days. there's a lot of weird scenes where he's like checking out a girl with a dog, and she's trying to help him, like, this is how you ask her out. And she's like, I'm gonna be you, and this is what you do. You want to go to the movies? And he's like, I do want to go to the movies with you, Scarlett. Which she wasn't even. She was in pretending to be him. A lot of weird scenes like that.
Yes, there's a lot of weird scenes in the movie. Period.
They ended up stealing the tube back for him. And it's a lot of scenes like that, and it also intercut with him being talked to by someone. He's chained up, which of course you learn later why. Which I guess we can kind of skip to that point, because there's probably like 50 minutes of setup before any of the real craziness happens.
Yep.
But he decides he's sick of listening to his dad. He takes off. He goes to the cabin they own in the woods where the mom disappeared, died, whatever. And the dad shows up, and this is where Freaky Farley really turns freaky. He shanks his dad with a pumpkin carving knife.
He does indeed murder the shit out of his father.
And he goes completely insane.
Loses his shit. Just fucking loses it.
Tries to kill the neighbor girl, which we didn't really talk about.
Oh yeah, he did.
She's like late 20s, but she has like pigtails and rides around on a little pink bike and acts like a little kid.
I think she does Farley and everyone else who's a child in this movie. I always picked up the vibe that she likes Farley. Me too.
She works for the dad at the radio station. But anyway, she sees it, bikes off, seemingly escapes. So he randomly kills two guys playing football. I always like that scene because
murders.
Yeah, like the football where he's like, hey, can you throw it over here? And then he immediately turns around. So Farley just pegs him in the back of the head of the football and then shanks him. And the other guy's like, dude, not cool.
That was uncalled for, bro.
And then he gets killed too.
Party foul.
And then a scene also from Silent Night at Night 2 where a kid's playing with something and drops it, and you seemingly think Farley's going to kill the kid, but he just hands the toy back to him. But
yeah, I might be crazy, but I'm not going to kill a kid. He says it to us.
Well, he says it to the girl he's talking to, the reporter.
Yeah.
Because it's still all stuff that's already happened. But yeah, so I think he kills a couple more, and he's somewhere in there. The Trogs kill the Scarlet, and he ends up not needing the knife, sticks it in a tree, and beats the shit out of the Trogs with his bare hands.
In a rage, just murders all the Trogs.
Yep. But eventually he ends up in town, and he's heading towards Scarlet House to kill her. And the ninja pops up and smacks him in the head with a brick.
Out of nowhere. Just brick out of nowhere.
And now we know why he's doing this interview with this woman, because he's locked in a criminally insane place.
Yep, an asylum for the criminally insane. Yeah.
But then you get some more scenes with the mayor talking about how he's not going to cancel the apple bobbing festival. They have to do something about the Trogs in a super secret meeting, which I don't know if you noticed was he's sitting in a chair at one point and the witch is like rubbing his shoulders. Like that's his woman.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Of course, the mayor's like played by Matt's uncle, I believe. And he's like, gotta be in his 60s. So it's kind of awkward, but so the only person that's ever killed any Trogs is locked up, so they decided to let him out with the witch and the ninja going with him. And The witch is instantly killed as soon as they run into the trunks. And
Useless.
the ninja and Farley just watch, which is great.
They don't even try to help. They're like, wow, that's really awful.
She's like throwing glitter at him.
Oh my god.
Reading from a book.
Oh, that's great.
So Farley goes down, rips all their guts out, their arms off, eating them. Lets the ninja do one final blow on one. Because the ninja did nothing at this point.
The whole movie, except for the break in the final blow, really.
Yeah. So they have to go back to town, but Farley beats up the ninja and escapes. And for some reason he didn't kill the two guys selling pumpkins who were dicks to him earlier. He just scares them by flipping his knife. He does kill... I don't know if it was at this point or earlier. I completely forgot. But he does kill Air Force Ricky, which is probably my favorite character because he's ridiculous.
Air Force Ricky is the best.
Yeah. He like runs into Farley and is like, "You need to buy me a pie." I'm Air Force Ricky.
I can't Air Force Ricky.
But yeah, that was another part from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. People have seen the classic garbage day where he shoots the guy bringing the garbage out. But this one he kills Air Force Ricky and says recruitment day.
Recruitment day!
Which at first he was just going to walk by. Because he's like, where you going, freaking Farley? And he's like, busy. And he's like, why wouldn't he kill him? Because that guy's been a dick the whole time. But yeah.
He was going to get his later. He wasn't supposed to be next on the list, that's all.
We see that the Scarlet has taken over the radio station for Farley's dad, doing the exact same show. Call in. Mayor calls in, says Farley's loose, and of course he kills the guy that works at the radio station. Then of course he kills Scarlet, stabs her to death, and then takes over the radio station. Yeah.
Freaky Farley show.
And does his laugh.
All right. So what did you honestly think about the movie?
I like the movie. I don't think it's as good as River Beast.
It's certainly not. I can agree with that.
It's like a slow burn up to the really entertaining parts.
I would say the first 35 minutes are really hard to get through. And then it slowly starts to pick up steam. I felt like they could have trimmed a little bit more from the beginning. I know the movie's only 82 minutes, but felt like a long 82 minutes. But at the beginning. But once it got going, it was fine,
They had to set up that the dad was a dick and that he started having feelings
but
for
you don't need
girl.
to set it up 3 times. You don't need to set it. The thing is, they did extraneous things, I felt. But that's neither here nor there. I think it is a fine film for a low-budget film made for $10,000. I think it's pretty fucking good. It's got decent framing. Nobody can act, but that's just because that's who they get to be in the roles. Nobody can act in that movie.
Come on, Farley's crazy walk.
That is pretty great. Farley can physically act for sure because he had such a weird gait and weird cumbersome movements, and I commend him on that. And it's not a bad movie. In fact, if you go on IMDb, it's got a 6.9, and it's also got mostly 4-star reviews on Letterboxd, and they're not related to the people, so it's just coincidence that it's got pretty good ratings for a low budget film. Period, for any film, but especially for a low budget film.
Yeah, it's one of those things that either you get what they're going for, which is obviously just like a 70s and 80s shitty horror movies. With
kids, but played by people who are too old to play kids.
Yeah.
It should be a horror movie.
If you go in and getting that, and then you just laugh and have fun, you're going to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, but it's certainly not a bad movie.
There's a lot of people that go into it and they don't get it, and they're like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But they're the people that say that about every movie they ever see. So.
Oh yeah, well, if you call this the worst movie I've ever seen, you haven't seen Exterminator City or Dead on Sight. And until you have no place to say that this is the worst movie ever. It's far from it.
Or San Fran Psycho.
That was pretty bad, but even that wasn't as bad as the two I mentioned. I'd rather watch San Fran Psycho again.
But
I never want to watch that movie again. This I'd be fine watching again. I'll probably end up owning this at some point.
I got the DVD, but it is on YouTube on their channel for free. So
That's how I watched it. So, Shock Marathon's the name of their channel. If you're interested, it's plural marathons.
yeah,
They're
that's also their podcast.
Yep.
Where they review movies from the 70s and 80s.
Like us, but under different auspices. And we don't require a specific decade. That's just our style. So, yeah.
But yeah, I like it. I like this movie. This was probably the second one I saw theirs because I ended up with River Beast first for free that someone gave to Jake. And then after that, I ran out and bought their other two. Well, there's actually a couple. I haven't actually seen I don't know how many they actually made. There was supposed to be like a bunch of them.
We got like 3 or 4 movies, yeah.
Druid Gladiator clone. There's supposed to be a bunch of Druid movies where they're running around in like Druid clothes and stuff. One is on their channel. I just haven't watched it yet. And then they put out another one on their channel called Sammy, which is basically the pit. He has a teddy bear he talks to, and there's a monster in a hole. It's just
okay.
the pit.
The pit again. All right. Well, hey, So next stream, we're gonna be watching Street Trash.
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it in quite a while. I watched it, a part of it, with commentary by Roy Frumps. I would say January, December, like around that time of this year. But I didn't watch the whole thing. I got disinterested. I'd look to finish this movie again. I've only seen it all the way through like once. So watching for this podcast is my goal to do that. But interestingly, there's actually a documentary on the second disc here that's 10 times better than the movie. There is a release of just the movie, though, so you can get either one. But yeah, Street Trash. It's by Synapse. It's good stuff. There's even a Blu-ray, which I don't have yet. Probably won't get. It's a low-budget movie. I'm good. So yeah, that's that. Do you have anything to add to this?
Nah, just go watch Freaky Friday, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really, really great. We'll see you next week for Street Trash and all sorts of fun times. Take it easy, folks. Peace.